I'm Lieutenant Commander Kate Cunningham, and today I'm going to talk about the slating process from your first division officer tour to your second. I'll cover the following. Typically, you will slate for your second division officer tour 6 to 9 months prior to your projected rotation date. To determine exactly which month you'll slate, visit the My Navy HR PERS 412 page and select the See Shore Slate calendar. If you're interested in fleeting up to your second tour billet on board, you should work with your XO and communicate to your detailer early. Please submit fleet up requests 13 months ahead of your PRD. For XOs and COs, please identify your fleet up officers and billets early and contact the C coordinator prior to that fleet up officer entering their slating window. This prevents that billet from being inaccurately advertised on a slate. For slating officers, please do not request a fleet up after you receive your slate results. We will not be able to make fleet up changes after a slate is complete. Every officer and billet included on a particular slate are matched by when the officer transfers and would need to complete follow-on training to when the billet they slated to needs to be filled. Post-slate changes would delay incumbents from transferring on time or lead to gaps in the fleet if billets were left unfilled and had to shift to a later slate. Before entering your slating window, your detailer will reach out soliciting your preferences. They will provide you with this form and request you rank your top 5 home ports, billets, and platforms, and then rank those 3 according to what is most important to you. In addition to this form, the detailer will also send you the list of available billets for that slate. This list is dynamic and never the same, so be sure to review it carefully. You may include a dream job in your write-up even if it's not listed. Keep in mind that request is unlikely to happen as the billet is not currently available due to timing, but any amplifying information you can provide in your preference write-up gives us more latitude during the slating process. Include if you have a fiancé or spouse, colo or not, and if that loved one has career location needs. Include if you have an exceptional family member. Include any other personal or professional considerations you want discussed between detailers during the slating process. We'll cover colo later in this video. Your detailer is your representative at the slate. They can only speak to the information you provide them. Be concise and consistent in your slate submission so they can best represent your preferences and career goals. In addition to your slating inputs, your CO will be contacted for feedback on your slating. They will be asked about your aptitudes for NAV and ASWO billets as well as for MCM detailing. We recommend discussing your slating goals with your CO upon receiving your slate. This provides them an opportunity to give you valuable feedback on your career aspirations ahead of your slate submission and their recommendation response. There are several billet options for second tour division officers across different platforms and home ports. Here is a breakdown of the available platforms and respective home ports. Effective on the February 2023 C slate, select Desron and Fibron second tour division officer billets, such as Staff ASW, Staff Readiness Officer, Ops and Plans, and a float training officer will be available to those scheduled slating officers who are on track to complete 600 underway qualified OOD hours in their first division officer tour. OOD hour progress must be demonstrated at the time of slating through a tourist snapshot and an accompanying CO endorsement to confirm that progress. This shift of staff billets decreases the post-division officer's staff afloat billet demands, which addresses a major dissatisfier from the recent CNSP-JO survey. The OOD hours and CO endorsement requirements are in place for these billets to ensure we're not disadvantaging junior officers from getting operational experience critical to their professional development. Here's a breakdown of billet options available on each ship platform. Some billets have prerequisites that you have to meet. To be an anti-submarine warfare officer, you must be recommended by your CO. To be a navigator, you must be recommended by your CO and have upwards of 100 underway qualified OOD hours at the time of slating. The slating process begins with the solicitation of inputs from those who are scheduled to slate based on the previously shown C slate schedule. The 4 junior officer detailers consolidate the inputs for each of their constituents in preparation for the slate. The JOC coordinator prioritizes the list of billets that need to be filled on that slate. All second tour division officer billets require a face-to-face turnover. Some second division officers may be rolling into their next tours with inflexible timing on when they need to report, meaning their billets will be priorities to fill. FD&F billets are also prioritized. After all the billets for that respective slate are prioritized, the detailers will rank each slating officer using the following slating equation. Trade average divided by the reporting senior's cumulative average of their best overall first tour fit rep times 2, plus 0.25 points for OOD, SWO, EOW, and or TAO. This slating calculation will go into effect on the February 2023 slate. All prior slates did not count OOD or SWO as additional quality points. Adding these additional quality points incentivizes accomplishing SWO milestone qualifications ahead of slating and generates more opportunity for a dispersed slate, since very few first tour division officers are complete with their EOW or TAO qualifications prior to slating. Let's walk through this example slate ranking. Here's an example First Division Officer Performance Summary Report, or PSR. This 4.17 is the trade average for this officer's first Divo fit rep. The reporting senior's cumulative average of all ensigns they've ever reported on at this time of report was 3.82. That's a positive delta of 0.35 between trade average and RISCA. We'll look at all the afloat division officer fit reps to ensure the most advantageous one is being used in the calculation. The next fit rep on the PSR only has a 0.3 positive delta between the 4.29 trade average and 3.99 RISCA, so we'll be using that initial Divo fit rep for our calculation. 4.17 divided by 3.82 times 2 is 2.18. This officer has their SWO, OOD, and EOW qualifications at the time of slating, so 0.75 gets added to their score, resulting in a total slate number of 2.93. Where they fall out on the slate ranking is dependent on how that 2.93 compares to the slate number of all the other officers on the slate. After the billets have been prioritized and the slating officers have all been ranked, the detailers and the C coordinator schedule a meeting to conduct the slate. Beginning with the top-ranked officers, they will work down the list, slating people to billets based on a balance of the officer's preferences, CO recommendations, and needs of the fleet based on billet timing and priorities. The best way to set yourself up for success on a slate is to earn your OOD, SWO, EOW, and or TAO qualification. Promise letters are not accepted. Less than 5% of slaters have their EOW qualification prior to slating to their second division officer tour. Based on the slate ranking equation, earning that qualification will typically move you to the top of the slate. When combined with the strong fit reps typically seen in conjunction with EOW qualifications, it gives you the best possible chance of getting a billet aligned with your preferences. The new division officer sequencing plan allows first tour division officers to submit requests to shift their PRD from 30 months to 27 months or 24 months. The request approval is dependent on earning your SWO qualification by 18 months to apply for the 24-month tour, or by 21 months to apply for the 27-month tour. The request must include a Taurus snapshot demonstrating you have completed 100 qualified underway OOD bridge hours for the 24-month tour and 160 qualified underway OOD bridge hours for the 27-month tour. Those officers who execute a Fleet Up Division Officer Tour are eligible to complete the Advanced Warfighter Weapons and Tactics Instructor Training in between their first and second Division Officer Tours. Some earlier tour non-Fleet Up Divos may be eligible, but the course and track timing is case dependent. If your timing works to attend WITI training, know that you must be accepted in the WITI program prior to slating and indicate your desire to complete the WITI curriculum as part of your slate submission. If your early tour request is approved, you will slate on the next scheduled C slate. PERS 41 will ensure those officers with approved early tour requests are not disadvantaged in the slating process. If you're making significant progress on your EOW qualification, have the discussion with your command regarding the feasibility of earning that qualification with a revised PRD timeline prior to submitting a shortened tour request. Having an EOW qualification continues to positively impact your slate rankings as you proceed into shore duty and onto your department head tours. If you're able to complete EOW on your first Divo tour, you absolutely should. PRD adjustments will not be accepted after slating. The billet you slate to is assigned based on your availability to relieve that incumbent officer on time. Extending your detached date would require the person you're relieving to extend on station. After the slate, the JOC coordinator presents and reviews the results with the PERS 412 branch head for concurrence. The two of them then sit down with PERS 41 to finalize and approve the slate. Notification emails are then sent to the commands. Detailers begin propping orders so placement can begin building the training tracks for each slated officer. En route to your second tour, every officer will attend OOD Phase 2 in Norfolk or San Diego for 3 weeks. Upon completion of OOD Phase 2, you'll proceed to the Advanced Division Officer course for 4 weeks in Newport. Each officer will have a billet subspecialty track in addition to those 2 courses based on their ultimate duty assignment. For example, navigators will attend NAV school, DCAs will attend DCASE, FCOs will go to Dahlgren for baseline specific combat training, and MPAs will attend PEO. Please refer to the SWO Career Manual for additional details on those requirements. Your detailer is also available to answer any specific training track questions. There are a few circumstances where the normal slating process is either slightly altered or does not take place. We'll talk through co-location, hot fills, and post-slating. Notify your detailer if you are planning on marrying or have recently married another military member. Any assignment preventing co-location must be approved by the Assistant Commander of Navy Personnel Command. If you are seeking to be stationed in a different geographical area than your military spouse, both of you will be required to formally waive your co-location via NAVPERS Form 1301. Sometimes, due to unplanned losses in the fleet, billets become available earlier than expected and trigger gaps in the fleet. These billets require an earlier relief than anticipated and become cause for a reslate. In the event this happens, the detailers will work through their constituent base, determine whose timing could be aligned to the new billet, evaluate if it better meets the preferences of one of their previously slated officers, and extend the opportunity. This can be a very complex process, as the reslates can have a significant waterfall effect. We try to avoid these unless absolutely necessary. Finally, post-slates operate differently than normal slates. A post-slater is an officer that is slating outside of their normal window, whether that is due to a late qualification, a PRD change, or any number of other unusual circumstances. Post-slaters are generally given 3 to 5 options vice a large slate. Post-slaters will work closely with their detailer to best match career timing and preferences to fleet needs. The post-slating process may take up to a month based on how many hot fills the fleet is experiencing at that time. If you are a post-slater, your detailer will review the process with you thoroughly to ensure you understand your options and will be standing by to answer any questions. We covered the following topics. If you have any questions, please email me at go_swo@navy.mil or reach out to your detailer with questions. Thank you very much for your time and attention. Have a great rest of your day.